Random thought. Do ultimatums really work in relationships? And I ask this because, sometimes in a relationship, one person lays down an ultimatum. Well, if you don't do this, then I'm going to leave. Does that work?
I'm no relationship expert, so I can't say for sure. But if you ask my opinion, no. If you have to make an ultimatum for someone to either marry you, be committed to you, anything like that, you got the wrong person. Right. And you should just move on and cut your losses, in my opinion. I've been given ultimatums before, and every time I was just like, well, then no.
Okay, so what kind of ultimatums were you given? Because I think this really determines something here. Because is it the way the ultimatum has been put forth, the way the question was asked, the way the situation was presented? Or, because take for instance, if you're going out with somebody and they're like, you're on the first date or the second date and they're like, yeah, I usually go out on 3 dates with somebody before I sleep with them. And then the third date comes and next thing you know, that wasn't an ultimatum. That was just situational awareness of what was about to happen.
Yeah, no, nothing like that. I've dated someone before, and she wanted a commitment, and I couldn't give that for various reasons. Right. That wasn't right. And so she was like, I need to know, if this or is this going to work or is it going to not? I need you to tell me. So I was like, well, let me think about it. And then a couple days later, we talked. Yeah, it's like, well, let me think about it. A couple days later, we talked, and I was just like, no, and it really wasn't anything to do with her. I was going to be relocating at some point. So I'm like, I don't want to commit because I'm not staying here. I'm going to move. And you can't move because you have kids that have to be close to their fathers. And yeah, y'all don't fit in the suitcase. So not going to work.
So, okay, that was mature, Terryl, because that was obviously past college, because I think the best ultimatum I ever got, and I say the best because I just thought the whole setup was so bad, right? Somebody I was hanging out with, and then, of course, my roommate and his girl, and he was telling a story about how his girl, how they got together. And it was one night, she's on top, and she just stops and goes, he said, what are you doing? He's like, I can't do this anymore unless we're in a relationship. And he's like, hey, I didn't want it to stop. We're in a relationship. I'm like, you're a fool. So this other girl that happened to hear this conversation thought it would be a great idea. And one night she goes, next time I have sex, it'll be with my boyfriend. I said, well, great. Let me know when you meet him so that we can start having sex again. That was raw, unadulterated rude boy. You can't throw ultimatums out. I don't do hypotheticals and I don't do ultimatums. Period.
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe in it. And I think I didn't realize ultimatums was a thing until this week of watching the Ultimatum on Netflix. I'm just like, these people are stupid. But no, I personally don't think an ultimatum work. Or let me just say this. An ultimatum will not work on me. I can't speak for other folks, but.
However, you did say, if we got to this number of subscribers, you would do this.
That's not an ultimatum. That's a deal with the devil. It's totally different. That's totally different.
Not exactly the same thing, but okay. No. But at least we got the results we wanted. More reality TV.
Exactly.
Hey, welcome to the show. I'm Yonni Rude.
And I'm just Terryl. You ever been out somewhere and overheard two people having crazy conversations?
Yeah, kind of like this one. Well, we are those people. We've been having these conversations since college.
Yes, it's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast, episode 84. Be sure to like, subscribe, and definitely leave a comment.
We asked you guys what we should watch, and one of the things that came up quite a bit was The Ultimatum, and here we are again reviewing a new show, and like Terryl said, we binge watched this. I was gone for a week, practically out of pocket for about a week and a half, but as we came back and we're dedicated to this, we decided to sit down and we binge watch this just so we could be in time for episode 84, because we know episode 84 didn't happen last week, and that's why we're waiting. We'll bring it back this week. Here we are, The Ultimatum recap. First things first, what did you think of the show?
Still hate reality TV. Let me just start there. Still hate it.
Okay.
But what I loved about this is it's on Netflix, and I could binge and watch through it, and there's no commercials. There's no 2-hour episodes. Compared to Married at First Sight, this is awesome, right? Just for the setup of it.
I'm gonna give you a heads up of what's gonna happen just because you said that there. Somebody in the comments below is gonna go, well, season 10 of Married at First Sight just dropped on Netflix. I just want you to know that. Continue.
Yeah, fine. So the overall concept of the show, I thought, was interesting and a little stupid. And this is, 47-year-old old man Terryl talking, right? Mm-hmm. These young kids need some therapy before, like, they're not mature enough to get married at 24, 25. I mean, those folks need some therapy, in my opinion. I thought it was interesting that the people that made the ultimatum and bring these people onto the show then get mad because they're dating someone else. And it's like, you started all this. Like, they didn't want to do it. You started all this. And then just all the drama that ensued just in that part, as well as when they got back together, I was just like, this is just ridiculous. And this also maybe shows me, and love to hear people in the comments, people in their 20s can't communicate well for shit. Like, these people don't know how to talk to each other. And I'm like, how are you with someone for 2.5 years, 3 years, and you can't communicate what you think, what you feel to this person?
To be fair, when we were in our 20s, we did not communicate well either. And we may think we did. And maybe even in our 30s, we thought we were communicating better and well. And, we were great communicators. If you ever just go back through your text thread conversation with somebody, oh, my bad. I'm sorry, Mr. Perfect.
I disagree with you, sir.
I'm sorry, Mr. Perfect. Go ahead.
You and I communicated well in our 20s because we either said, no, we're not going to be together. Yes, we're going to be together. We had no problem telling somebody no.
Facts.
As you said, so I mean, we communicated well. They might not have liked how we communicated, but we had no problem saying, I'm not interested.
When I said we, I was trying to go with the greater, the all.
Yeah, no, don't loop us in there. We might have did some shitty things regardless, but we could at least tell somebody, yes, I like you and I want to be with you. Mm-hmm. No, I don't like you and I don't want to be with you. If you're looking for something serious, it's not going to happen here.
But we can still have fun.
True.
When it comes down to this show, one of the things I would say is that it reminds me a lot of Temptation Island. Now, Temptation Island, you have not seen, and it's very similar to the Ultimatum, where these couples go onto this show, agree to live in separate houses with a bunch of singles, and they date those people, and at the end see if they want to be with their person they came with or leave with somebody else. Sound familiar? I will say the thing I liked about the Ultimatum, it was very confined, as in the number of people involved in it, and the fact that Nick Lachey didn't go, and of course, I'm Nick Lachey. Because I hate when he does that on Love is Blind. Like, what do you mean, of course? Nobody knows. And I thought it showed him when he was like, hot girl winner. What's that? Highlight of the show. If there's one part to the entire show was when he said that. She's like, it's okay, babe. I'll tell you later.
Don't get me wrong. When April said that, I was just like, what's hot girl winner? Like, I went there, then I was
okay,
like, oh,
Nick Lachey.
hot girl summer. Got it.
Exactly. April was ready to get it on, but it was December when they shot this. So she's like, hey, let's get it.
Yeah, I like how you're right. It's a nice confined space. I like the fact it was in Austin, Texas. So, a lot of the places they went, I'm like, ooh, I've been there. I know where that place is. And I like how they created a little bit of the drama.
Yeah.
Right? That the couples all match up and then y'all are going to all get together and hang out. And so you're sitting there watching your person, talking, flirting with someone else. Then they have the girls' night and the guys' night, and they're all talking and like, hey, just so you know, I made out with your girl. I'm like, why would you even bringing this stuff up? But it just created a lot of the tension. So I thought it was funny how they did that.
It was indeed. And I will say, so as they get together, first of all, as we get down to running through the show, and there's so many different ways to do this because it was all intertwined. So let's start with when they started dating other people, because we know they got there, they already made the decision. And when people started to actually date and then make their choices, we get to that decision day when they choose, here's a person I'm going to live with for 3 weeks. First of all, when I think of that, I go, there's no way first, we can easily say this. There's no way I'll be on the show, okay?
Yeah.
Because if my woman wanted to take me on the show, I'm like, well, let's just go ahead and break up now because that's what you're trying to do. This is not going to happen, okay? Mm-hmm. But you're there watching your person pick somebody else to live with for 3 weeks. And when they say live with, they have one bed.
Well, I remember the dating process and just kind of watching how they did it. Because I was curious, like, how are they going to, is there separate rooms? I'm thinking about, like, Love is Blind. Is there a separate room they go into? It's like, no, they're all hanging out at the pool. And so as you're sitting there dating, through the corner of your eye, you see your partner also having a date. And so that has to be distracting. Like, how do you...
What the hell's so goddamn funny? What you laughing at?
Exactly. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. And then, how do you pick and determine that this is who I want to be with for the next 3 weeks? You obviously everybody was pretty attractive. So it's not just a looks thing, but maybe it's who do you feel you have a connection with? And then what if, even if you spent 3 weeks with a person, that's the thing I didn't get. Is how would you leave someone you've been with for 2.5 years for someone you've known for 3 weeks? Because anybody can be awesome for 3 weeks. Yeah. On TV. Right. Mm-hmm. So I was curious to see how they were going to come to their decision. And so when it came to the decision night, a lot of them went the way I thought they were going to go. But that whole, I got to call this out. Alexis, that chick, it's crazy because she really liked her some Colby, and Colby was like, "Yeah, I'm not attracted to you," and that hurt her feelings.
Oh, yeah, she's like, "What do you mean? I look like your girlfriend, and what do you mean? We look alike. I don't believe that you're not attracted to me." Exactly.
Like, how do you get so offended and upset that somebody's not attracted to you, and like they're wrong? So that says a whole lot about people who have, I don't want to say high self-esteem, but they consider themselves a 10 when they're really an 8. But
no,
God forbid someone not call them.
She's not even a 6.
I don't know I'm not attracted to her. I don't know what you would call her.
I call her
but
4.
There
and
are
actually,
some
not even
guys
4.
that like that look. But the fact that someone told her to her face, I'm not attracted to you. And then what do women say? I want the truth. Well, he gave her truth, and then she got pissed off. Pissed off. Not just like a little taken aback. She was mad all the way through to the reunion.
She was mad that she tried in that very moment to break up everything else he had going on. She walked over to where Madlyn was sitting with her man Hunter and says that he's not a good person and she should leave him. And then at every table, every chance she had a chance to get, she tried to dog him out because he told her the truth. And just like you said, the thing that irks me about that is that people always say they want the truth. And I say people, I don't want to say women because men say the same thing too until you get the truth. And guys, it's like, don't ask the questions you don't want the real answer to. Don't ask her how many people she's been because if she tells you, you're going to be mad. 2? Well, I guess that's how you was raised. For all my Chris Rock fans. But that was a perfect example of asking for the truth, getting it, and not knowing how to handle it. You got to be aware when you ask for the truth and be able to handle it. Not in the way that you just feel like, but because you ask for it, act in the way of a responsible adult and go, okay, well, thank you for being honest with me. Now I'm going to cry.
Yeah, well, I think it bothered her more because it was on TV. So it's one thing, like, if someone just told you one-on-one at a coffee shop, hey, Yonni, I'm not attracted to you. But on TV, in front of people, maybe that's what set her off. But so once they get to the point of matching, you have Hunter that decided not to match and proposed to Alexis.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really nice. I thought that was cool.
The thing about that was like, because who brought who on out of Hunter and Alexis? Did she bring him on? Oh, he
Hunter brought her on. Yeah.
Right. And I want to know, what is it about her that made him decide that he wanted to get back with her? And I think, I will say this. He wasn't trying to make moves on anybody. Even when he was sitting with April and he's like, no, just talk to me. No, let's talk. Know that I'm always here. And what I got out of that was not him trying to put on these moves on her. It was more like, I'm a friend. I can listen. I'm a listener and I will listen to your problems. And now we know exactly why he's so fucking patient. because he deals with Alexis this entire time. So he's like, well, look, I'm an expert in this shit. So if you need to talk, you need to get these emotions out, I'm here. I can listen.
Yeah, he's got the patience of concrete. Like I couldn't do it. But great for him, right? But he went and chose the person that he brought on the show. Mm-hmm. Happy for them. And then you had Nate's dumbass who was like, wait a minute. Colby wants my girl. Colby looks like the type of dude who's going to smash my girl. I got to stop this. You got
to understand, though. So understand the process with Nate here, though, okay? Because what happened with Nate was he and Shanique got along well, and he liked Shanique. He wanted Shanique, right? And then Shanique picks Zay, because Shanique says something about both of them, says something bad about Zay, but doesn't say anything bad about Nate. Then she picks Zay, and he's like, what the fuck just happened? And then April was his next go-to, because he's like, all right, cool, April, I'm going to go with April. And then April picks, she says it comes down to Nate, it comes down to Hunter, and she picked Hunter because Hunter can listen. And we all know April likes to talk, so this would have been a perfect matchup. But then Hunter was like, well, shit, I don't want to have to listen to her ass. I already listened to her, so I'm just going to go back to the one I know. And so he went with Alexis, and he went and proposed to Alexis, right? So when that happened to Nate is sitting there like, the fuck? All right, what am I going to do? Then he looks across the table at Madlyn and goes, I'm going to choose you.
Yeah.
And she's like, huh? I'm going to choose you. And she's like, okay. And then Colby gets up and starts talking about Lauren, and he was like, oh, fuck this. He's going to fuck my girl, and he's going to fuck her good with that cowboy hat on. No.
I mean, he's so threatened, and I'm like, you brought her on the show for this, and so you look stupid. Mm-hmm. But whatever. But all the other couples that matched up, I thought it made sense. You know, Randall and Madlyn, I thought that was good. Shanique and Zay, I got a lot to say about those two. And then, Colby wound up saying, okay, well, Lauren is out. All right, April, you're my number 2. Mm-hmm. You good? And April was like, yeah, great.
Well, yeah, because they both, the two people they picked went ahead and decided to go somewhere else. So they were the odd ones out because Rae and Jake, which we knew those two, Rachel and Jake were going to be the two. We knew that from the get-go, right? Mm-hmm. They matched like they were twins. I mean, I'm not even sure that they're not siblings, okay? Because they even look alike. But so that's what Colby and April were the leftovers, and they were like, all right, well, let's just do this. But they didn't do it in that romantic sense.
Right.
I think it was, and I will say this about Colby. Colby has definitely helped a couple things, and Nate should thank Colby because Colby is the one who told Lauren, it's not that you don't really want kids. It's just that you're afraid of the process of having kids. And now, and we find out later on, and we get to that point, that kind of opened up her mind just a little bit more. Because remember, she was all about no kids, period, point blank. And that's when Nate should have walked away. But his dumb ass just didn't want Colby to fuck her, fuck his girl. So.
Exactly. And I think kudos to April and Colby because they're the ones that brought their partners on to the show. And so they figured the people they chose, weren't able to select. So they're like, hey, look, let's just do this together and still go through the process. So I was like, good for them.
Well, let's start with them and let's go through these 3 weeks that they spent together. It really wasn't a whole lot with them that I saw besides the fact that they did kind of show a little chemistry at the end, but I think it just showed with the two of them a good friendship, even though while he's in the kitchen cooking, the one thing that stood out to me was, April, if you don't get your ass off my stove.
You're so picky.
Yes.
You're so picky. Little things just get you. It's like, goodness, ass on the stove, dogs in the bed. You just
yes, exactly.
Well, there wasn't a whole lot to them, and the reason why is because Colby was going out hitting the clubs and the bars at night. Yeah, well, April was in the room sleeping, so he's out meeting other women. But you didn't really see anything about them until the end, and they had that little Connect Four moment. Where they gave each other all these compliments, and then that's when Colby was like, And then they have a nice little makeout sesh. Don't know where that went, but they had a little session. So I thought that was really cool, but not a whole lot to really say about them other than that last couple of days that they were together.
Right. And then you've got Madlyn, she came with Kobe to the ultimatum, and Randall. Now, Madlyn, when she first saw Randall, from the first time she saw him, she was like, "Greek God, I want him."
Yeah, she sure did. And I think she just wanted him. I don't know if she's dated black men before, or she's just black curious and really wanted Randall and was hoping in those 3 weeks that she'd get a taste, right? I don't know, but she was really wanting him physically.
Oh, yeah.
And Randall, who knows what he did off camera, but I'm sure he was trying to like low-key not do anything on camera because he knows his family, her family, they're going to see this. He's got to explain himself.
And Shanique would see it. And it's so smart guy, because most people forget the cameras are there and just do whatever. I will say this. He was very self-aware, because even when she came home drunk from the girls' night out, and she's on like, hey, hold up, not on the camera. And she got frustrated but she'd even said before, we kissed off camera, which told her everything that she needed to know. She was a moped. Fun to ride, just don't want to be seen in public with, right?
Wow.
What?
No,
I say something wrong?
No, I'm just saying she also played and it seems like every reality show has the drunk white girl, right? And so she played that all the time, like just taking shots, slurred speech, and all that. I'm like, what is your
stagger?
And I'm like, this Kobe has to deal with this all the time? Like, it's one thing every now and then you get a little twisted. I've been there. Some of you have seen it. But I've been there. But it seemed like she was always a little tipsy and drama. And then why would you, when they had the girls' night, why would you tell Randall's girlfriend, I made out with Randall and he got a boner? Like, why would you say that? Yeah. Like, what's to gain from saying anything like that?
What kind of drugs are these new 20-year-olds on that getting a boner is an accomplishment? A
surprise.
It's like, what? He made out with somebody of the opposite sex and got hard?
Yeah. It's like, no, we're together, so no one else should get you aroused but me. That's not how anatomy works.
Next made a whole song about it. Too Close was all about dancing on the dance floor. And you remember those days when you're on the dance floor, it was about getting close. And hey, So
you kept that little distance for a reason. Some 6 inches, some more, depending on your situation. But you kept the distance for a reason.
Or not. Or you're like, hey, girl.
Yeah, you know what time it is. But yeah, it's just like, why is that a shock? And then, you got Shanique that meets up with Randall while he's still in the 3 weeks with Madlyn, upset about that. And just that drama. And I guess we could talk about them too when we get back to their 3 weeks together. But Randall and Madlyn, I thought were interesting. Honestly, I thought that they might have had something until she got all drunk and he, got all mad and flipped her shit.
But the thing about it too, I think, even when he was drunk that night too, but he was still self-aware that the cameras are rolling. Nope, not while the cameras are here. But because he kept pushing the fact of, well, Kobe went out, he kissed this girl. And he kept pushing that with, no, you need to hear this. And she's like, I don't need to hear this. I'll deal with him when I see him next week. I don't need to hear this now. It's about me and you. And he kept bringing it up like he wanted to sabotage their relationship. And she's just like, I don't care. So he was being the gossip girl. But one of the things I did notice, when she took him to meet her friends, right? You realize that her and one of her good friends both smashed Kobe, right? And they all wanted to smash Randall. They're all like, oh yeah, we like Randall.
I thought that was interesting that her good friend has hooked up with Kobe before. And it's not like it's not happened, but I couldn't be with somebody who slept with one of my good friends. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah. I couldn't do it. Sorry.
At least be with somebody seriously. All right, so moving on to Randall's person that he got there with, which was Shanique and Zay. Now, when Shanique got up initially, I didn't know who she was going to pick. I was like, all right, stereotypically, they got the black people in the room, all of them going to connect, right? So you're going to put, all right, she's got to go with Zay. But then she seemed to have a great conversation with Nate. And then she just curved Nate, who seemed so offended by that, and picked Zay, who was happy because he was like, okay. And I really thought, listening to her and listening to him speak, that she'd be like, yeah, nah, I'm good. But no, she actually decided to go. And I was like, these two together, I could see them because she had a physical attraction to this athlete-looking guy. She really had a physical attraction to him, even though she tried her best to fight it for most of the 3 weeks.
Yeah, so Shanique, I remember when I first saw her, I'm like, God, she's gorgeous. And her pink luster oil and toothbrush game is tight because those little baby hairs was always kept nice until you informed me that that's a wig. And I had no idea. No idea.
Matter of fact, ladies, I'll tell you what, because Terryl had no idea on this, right? And I had to school him on the fact that, no, that's a wig. And, take a screenshot and zoom in for him to see. How do you identify a wig? Let him know below because he needs to understand how to identify wigs.
Educate me because I had no idea, but I just kept seeing like every day the little baby hairs. And I just thought I have a cousin when I was a kid. She'd get that pink luster oil and a toothbrush and like brush them baby hairs down. And so I thought that's what she was doing. So as for Zay, I couldn't stand Zay. And I know why I couldn't stand him, just because.
I know why you couldn't stand him too.
Yeah, like and this is my bias, right? It's not that he's wrong. This is just my bias. I can't stand people, regardless of race you are, that you can't fucking talk. And I'm listening to him and I'm just like, what the hell are you talking about? And so their whole kind of interaction, they had that little blow up and I'm watching him like raise his voice at Shanique and all, but he just sounds ignorant as shit. And I'm just like, what is your deal? And I get it. You had some trauma in your life, whatever, but I'm sorry. Get some therapy, build a bridge, and get over it. But you can't just keep resorting back to that all the time.
And kudos to her. And maybe it's her Jamaican parents and that Jamaican blood that's in her, that West Indian blood that's in her, that allows me, no, you're not going to talk to me like that. Bring your voice down. Bring your voice down. Stop yelling at me. No matter how big he is, she was not playing that game. No, you know what? We're done here. I love that because he's not accustomed to anybody standing up to him. And that's the problem. He's got Rae who doesn't speak. He's like, well, you don't speak up for yourself. And then somebody does, and he's like, gets offended because somebody's actually talking back to him because he thinks he's always right. He's the big man in the room a lot of the times. And what happens then is, if he's got friends that are about the same intellectual level as him, they're going to shut the fuck up when he starts talking because they don't want him to whoop their ass. But at the same time, you need somebody who's not going to be afraid to. And that's what he got with her. I think that she was really a good balance for him and a way to get him to even just to get past that. Because even past the 3 weeks, later on, when they got together just to talk, you see them doing the tequila shots, and you're like, this is about to get really serious. There's going to be something else. Then it flipped that quick. And one of the things she said to him was, stop running away. You do it every single time. Stop leaning on your past trauma and using that as an excuse. Confront this. Don't walk away. You do it every time. And he couldn't handle it.
Yeah. And stop over talking people. Sometimes you just need to listen. And don't listen to be right. Just listen. And that's a lot of what he would do. And like when Shanique did that to him when they were talking in the bed and she was telling him to lower your voice, all I kept picturing was Jasmina. Picturing Jasmina from Married at First Sight. I'm like, but I agree.
Coincidence, they're both Jamaican.
Yeah, well, but I agree that it was great to see her stand her ground. And he's just not used to that. But I just think he needs a lot of counseling and he needs to read a couple books because the dude is just, you can't talk. And I just can't stand listening to that personally.
Well, you know what I can't stand. And Shanique does it because she's like, and my dog sleeps in my bed with me. And then stop dressing up the damn dog. I mean, the dog looks like is about to go out for a job interview. No, it's a dog. It's already dressed. It's got fur. It's okay. Don't stop dressing up these damn animals, man. Stop it.
I want a therapist to get with you and like, okay, Yonni, show me on the doll where the dog touched you. What happened?
So it was a night when we had Mad Dog 2020 and we chugged it in 5 minutes. And I remember laying on the floor. And when I woke up, there's a dog standing in my face. No. The last couple that was together, Rae and Jake. I mean, these two had that chemistry from the get-go. You saw it immediately, and you knew these two got it. Their racial makeup was almost identical. The things that were very different about them is one is an outdoors guy. You could tell that they dated completely different people, because Rachel was all about inside, and even though she had her race car dad so she had this need for speed. So she has an adventurous side. She just didn't have somebody who pushed her on that adventurous side, which obviously she wasn't afraid to do when she was out with Jake. Because going paddleboarding, if you're not accustomed to being out there, and even when the spider ran up, you have your fear. You're going to jump up and run. But she came right back and sat down next to him, which said a lot to me. Because there's no way you're scared of that, and it comes walking by, I'm going to sit right back down. So I like her adventurous side.
Yeah, well, I liked their connection, because when you look at Jake's original partner, April, who dragged him out to be on this show because he didn't want to do it. But
I didn't want to do the show.
She is just like a lot of emotion and drama to me.
Yes.
It's just how she appeared. And it seemed like the connection he had with Rae, there was none of that. It was just them being able to talk, listen to each other, encourage each other. But it wasn't this constant drain of emotional baggage from April. And then you got, Jake is totally different than Zay, because he's able to listen, encourages her. So she felt like she could be more open with him than she could with Zay. So all of that made sense to me. So I was really rooting for that couple. I've been there, right? We've all been there, where you just have this incredible chemistry with somebody that you just met. And you're like, oh my God, I have to explore this. And I was wanting to see those two do well. I
did. I actually, most recently, I married her.
Yeah.
As you remember the night I met her, I told you about it. But one of the things I didn't get out of this is, why did Jake lie to Rae about how his mom felt? That was just a bold-faced lie. Because his mom was not feeling her like that. She likes you. She likes you a lot. She thinks we can do well together. His mom was like, she's too closed off. She does not talk a lot about herself. She doesn't give a lot of answers. And she just recognized that about her. But in comparison to April, is what her thing was. It was like, well, April tells you what's on her mind. This girl really doesn't. Which is a very cautionary tale, because she's got some shit she needs to work out. She needs to work out, right? And I understand that. But the fact that he lied to her, he lied to Rachel about what his mom said and how she felt.
But you're not going to tell the truth. Like, why would you do that? I mean, there's a possibility she's never going to meet his mom again. So why even have that conversation, make it awkward in the house for the next 2 weeks?
Okay.
Just why'd you even bring it up?
She's going to
I wouldn't tell somebody if they accidentally met my mom, and notice I said accidentally. They accidentally met my mom, and my mom tells me, oh, I can't stand that heifer, which my mom has said that about a girl that I introduced her to.
Just one?
Just one. She said, who's this fast ass heifer? I was just like, what are you talking about? But, moms know.
Was she right?
I didn't tell her that. I didn't say, hey, so what'd your mom think of me? Well, she thought you were a fast ass heifer. No.
Now, that would have been amazing.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that.
But here's the question. Was your mom right? Was she a fast ass heifer?
Maybe.
Yeah, but I like that.
We're not together, so there you go.
She was just fast enough for the time that I needed.
Yeah. That was a season in my life. Let's just say that.
Oh my God! So they get through all of this, and they get back with their original mates, and it seems like when you get back to like April and Colby, Colby and Madlyn. When we get back to Colby and Madlyn, they butted heads from the and it feels like everybody butted heads when they got back together. But you look at Madlyn and Colby when they got back together, that was just so rocky immediately.
It was just straight drama. Mm-hmm. But to me, that was enough drama to hear how Colby I wouldn't say he gaslights, but he twists stuff around to make it seem like it's Madlyn's fault. And she falls for it all the time. And so I'm like, if you've been unsure about marrying this guy, your friends are telling you, stay away from this guy. Your mom told you, hey, when I first met Colby, he sat next to me. He spent a lot of time talking to me. Ever since then, he doesn't talk to me at all. Me or your dad doesn't ask those questions. I'm like, yes, because he's trying to fool you that he is awesome. And that he's this great person when I don't think he really is. And so watching them go at it back and forth, he took off that night, 2 a.m, doesn't come back until whenever. And I'm like, where'd you go? Probably the girl that he met, that he was texting with, probably went and hooked up with her.
He's like, one more fling, let's get it.
Yeah, but I mean, I just thought they kept constantly bickering and arguing. And even at the end of their last night together, where she thought that she was going to tell him she's ready to say yes to him, they have that fight where he's again lies and flips it around. And she's like, who would I be if I chose to marry this person? And, they do this kind of stuff. And then look what she went and did. And so I'm just like, some people like the drama and choose it in their relationships. And so you got to reap what you sow.
I get it. But here's the thing that irks me about their whole final 3 weeks and then the decision, right? She acted... I'm trying to figure the best way to say this. Because she went into his phone, right? To get the text message.
iWatch. His watch.
It's his watch. Apple Watch. So that's right. She went into his watch. April went into Jake's phone. So that's right. So she went into his watch and read the messages. Now, interesting thing about that. Again, it's an invasion of privacy, right? For one. I get that you get the information that you wanted out of it. Cool. But if you're going to do that, remember, he went out and hooked up with somebody, but you were on camera trying to bang the shit out of Randall the entire 3 weeks. From the matter of fact, 4 weeks, because the minute you saw him, you were like, that's the guy I'm picking. He's getting the goodies. He's getting the cookie jar. He's going to be stealing this every night. That was her whole intent. She knew what she was doing. She came on with the intent of, I'm not marrying this guy, blah, blah, blah. So what changed her mind anyway? I don't understand it. And I think the whole setup for that from the very beginning was all she's anti this. So yeah, he brought her on. But if he's supposed to go through the process and he's stuck with Chatterbox over there, April, he's like, the hell with this. I can't, shit, how the hell does Jake do this? I'm going to the club. So he went to the club, found somebody else, and had him a ball. He's like, I'm going to go through the process. Because I know, I watched the way I fucked Randall. She's going to give him the cookies. I'm going to go get some while I'm out here too. What's the problem?
I can't say that there's a problem. I think her issue is it was someone outside of the show. If you're supposed to be this other partner, because then technically he's also cheating on April. If he's in a relationship with April for 3 weeks, as the
so would she
the
be
show
fine if he was banging down April?
She probably would have, because that was the person on the show. Yeah. So maybe that's it, but who knows? But again, she's pretty immature. Is what it is.
Him and April had an open relationship.
Apparently, according to his text messages, it's an open relationship.
She just read it wrong. He didn't say his girlfriend Madlyn. He said his girlfriend. They're in an open relationship. He's in an open relationship with April because April was just like, he's like, you're right.
Yeah. So who knows on that one?
So speaking of the other nosy person on the show, April, who went through Jake's phone. Which, why? Why do we make it a point to keep going through people's phones? And I like the fact that Nick and Vanessa said that they went through each other's phones. And even Vanessa was like, you were good. You actually figured out my password. And I'm like, that's the bad thing. Because, like, my wife knows the password to my phone. I know the password to her phone. Only because we keep putting it in front of each other like that. And we even told each other, hey, open my phone. Here's the number. Nothing to hide. And I don't believe in going into people's phones or searching for shit, because you're going to find something and do what?
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the problem. That's not the first time that she's gone through Jake's phone.
Exactly.
And so Jake knew what he was getting himself into. So then don't take pictures and videos and shit and put them on your phone if you know your girl does that kind of stuff. So
hey, but if you had Rachel up on the chair in the club, bending over, booty like that, and you're a little tipsy, you're going to take a video too. Because look at April. Her booty don't shake like that.
No. But if I did, I would take the picture, save it to a file that's password protected that you could just randomly open and see in my phone. Boom. Put it in the cloud. Yeah, I mean, April and Jake, I mean, I think they've been together for a long time. The desperation that April had to me about, I want a ring on this finger, I want this. I mean, it's just, you're so desperate. Mm-hmm. And everything about Jake said, from the beginning of the show to the 3 weeks they were together, he's not there. He's not feeling it. Mm-hmm. Right. And so she was just so desperate to have that. And she's just emotionally needy. Yeah. And that has to be a lot. Look at, who she said in the reunion. She's dating somebody now. And he wakes up. Hey, good morning, beautiful. I love you. I can't wait to marry you. Hey, I'm at work, about to have some lunch. Can't wait to marry you. Hey, good night, beautiful. Love you. And I can't wait to marry you. Like, if you need all that daily, you're kind of sick in the head, in my opinion.
Or you just need somebody who's crazy enough to keep telling you that shit.
It's just draining. That'd be way too much work to have to do to somebody to make them feel reassured.
Fact.
Every single day, I can't wait to marry you. Then what happens when you marry? Mm-hmm. Hey, babe, love you. So glad I married you. Hey, babe, grabbing lunch. So glad I married you. Like,
can't wait till we have kids. All right, kids born.
Can't wait till
the kid moves out.
Yeah, can't wait till we have kids.
Can't wait till we
empty love you. Hey, babe, love you. Can't wait till you do anal.
She's like, that was third date. Next couple, Rae and Zay. And, these two are obviously pure passion from the whole thing of, we're doing it 2-3 times a day. And then no real conversation because he wanted her to open up more. She finally started opening up more, but then she realized that she opened up more with Jake than with him. And with Zay, she just kind of fell back into her role of, because Zay gets upset and gets loud and gets angry, and she just withdraws. And that's the thing that I don't think you realize. In that kind of verbally abusive relationship, that's the shit that happens. It's either going to be both going at it, or one's just going to shrink away while the other one just gets louder and feels stronger. And the minute that she fired back because he stayed out till 8 o'clock in the morning, then they get physical. And you're like me. You thought that he was probably going to swing on her.
I did. I was waiting for the producers to jump in, but he kept going after her. Mm-hmm. But what I do like about what she said is that she told him it's not going to work. I don't want to be with you.
Yeah.
So you got it, right? And so going back to what we said earlier about, you want the truth. Mm-hmm. But here's the problem with men. Why? I don't want to be with you. Why? But what's wrong? Why? Because there's nothing she's going to say that's going to end the conversation. He's going to keep asking why. Mm-hmm. So she doesn't want to be with you. She's done. And so he decides to go out and get drunk. And the fact that he told her, look, sometimes I just like to go out and just get messed up and just not think about things. Like, anyone who says that is not ready to be married, because that's stupid. And that's, again, that's youth. That's just young people doing stupid shit. But he's not ready to get married at all. But I don't think he's mature enough, emotionally mature enough to be married. So kudos for her for saying what she said. I'm glad that she ended it with him. And then as soon as he's single, what does he do? Hey, Shanique. What's up?
Single.
You up? Let's meet for drinks. Yeah. Hey, big head. Yeah. So he goes to go meet up with Shanique. And Shanique, I think, was trying to see, could there be something, which I just didn't think there was anything with those two. Mm-hmm. Outside of whatever they did on the covers. I couldn't tell. But
apparently there was some what was it, vegetable oil or some kind of oil that was used so that it could use as a lubricant. So, I was like, when they got back for the tequila shots, I'm like, because obviously she was physically attracted to him, right? Mm-hmm. And the question was whether that would actually happen. Something would happen. So when Zay gets with her and they're taking these shots and there's a lot of flirting going on, and then Zay comes out, Killer Zay comes out and he gets upset and he wants to run away. And again, this is part of what we talked about earlier, the fact that she was able to say to him, stop running away. And I think that she realized in that moment, I can't deal with this. And Randall's not as bad as this guy right here. This guy's not ready for shit. He's not ready, but hey, I can help you. And that's one of the things I like about what she did in that moment, where she just tried to tell him, like, you can't keep running away. You can't keep using your past. He's like, what do you mean about it? You can't keep doing that. And she just stood up to him in that moment and kind of just let him kind of hear it. I don't think he got through, but at least he heard it.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. It didn't make sense to me, but, I'm glad that Rae and Zay didn't work out. Even though
once the show was over, they kept hooking back up for a while. And that came out at a reunion that they started, knocking down each other again immediately after the show, because they had that strong sexual chemistry, and you go back to what's comfortable, and so you get out from the show, that's what you do, and then now she's moved on, but that was interesting to see. But Shanique and Randall, when they got back together,
Shanique is the one that brought him on. She was one of the ones that got mainly really pissed about him and Madlyn and all that stuff. Shanique, to me, seems very immature. The way she handles, she handles discussions with Zay better than she does with Randall.
She's 24.
And she just gets, I get it. But again, that's why you're not ready to get married. If you're that immature, you can't have a conversation, as Randall was trying to explain. Her whole attitude and energy was just bad. Fuck the ring, just ridiculous.
I think
because he wouldn't say anything bad about Madlyn. Yeah, because he wouldn't say anything bad about Madlyn. Like, she just loses it. So I just can't stand that type of energy in a person. And I think that's what Randall's issue was. But I think Randall's been invested this long, so he figures, fine, you broke him down. Let's go ahead and get married. In his little tearful, I thought that was funny when he was proposing. But so good for them. And then come to find out, they broke up.
I don't think it was a bad thing. And here's the thing. The thing about them, I think of all the couples there who have a chance to make it in the long term, it's those two, right? And I'll tell you why. Yes, they're both young. They're both going through. And I like that her dad was like, you've been with her for 2 years, 2.5 years. Why don't you know whether you want to marry her? I'm like, my response would be like, I'm 26. What do you mean? This is not the time that we don't have to do this. But what they did do, and I think it's really good for them, because you can have the college sweetheart and you can do this. Get it out. Y'all went ahead. Y'all dated other people. She did whatever she did with Zay under the covers. He did whatever he did with Madlyn off camera. They got back together. They didn't really discuss a lot of that, right? Besides the fact that her wanted to say, well, what didn't you like about Madlyn? And he really could have just said, I hate the fact that she comes home drunk as shit and acts like a jackass. Randall, you are a jackass for not saying that. That's the easiest thing, because she saw her drunk too. She would have been like, I knew you wouldn't like that. That's it. But she should have been.
Randall was mature about it.
Huh?
Randall was mature about it, because he was like, what does that have to do with anything?
That's not mature. That's being an ass.
No, I don't think it is being an ass. I think that just makes sense. Y'all got 3 weeks to determine if y'all want to be together. What does talking about this other person who's not here in this room with us for the next 3 weeks, what value does that add?
What it adds is the fact of this. What happened in those 3 weeks where you were with that person to affect what we have? Does it affect it? Yes or no? What didn't you like that she did? It's not a bad question. It's not a bad question.
No, what you asked was better. You said, what happened in the 3 weeks that you were there that could possibly impact negatively or positively our relationship? That is a good question. But to say, what don't you like about her? What does she need to work on and improve on? That doesn't add anything. That just makes Shanique feel better, but it's a dumb question. But that's, again, she's 24, and she's young and immature, and shouldn't get married now.
And so is he. He's immature in the fact of the way he handled a lot of it. And I was actually surprised at the reunion he made no comment about what happened with her and Zay, right? Unless they just cut that out completely. Because the male ego is very fragile. we know that. And the fact that, because even when he went to sit down with her parents, and they're like, yeah, Zay's a lot taller than you. He's like, yeah, he is. He's much taller. Yes, he is. And I thought it was a pretty shitty thing of her dad to do, but it was also one of those things, dad just going, you gonna man up or what? It's pretty much what his dad was trying to do. Her dad was trying to do to Randall. But I think at the end of the day, with Randall and Shanique, for them, they took that time, that 6 months apart, and then they came back. And in that time, she dated some more, and probably got a chance to see that everybody else the grass isn't greener. And that's the problem that a lot of people find out. And there are times you realize the grass isn't green out there, and you've got to realize that. And maybe she got to see that because he was going through a lot of shit, so he didn't get a chance to see it. So hopefully he didn't need any extra time. Maybe he saw it when he was with Madlyn and realized, yeah. And we don't know who broke it off between the two of them, but
supposedly he didn't. Supposedly he didn't do anything. I mean, who knows? I mean, we're men. We're human beings. We have needs. I've dealt with personal loss, family loss. Yet I still wanted to have some sex. Might not have wanted a relationship, but still wanted sex. So whatever. But I look at Shanique's parents, to me, they're a problem too. Because just because they've been together 2.5 years, why won't you marry her? Why are you rushing us to get married?
Exactly.
What if I don't feel ready? And sir, you should understand because you felt ready when you proposed to this woman here. I don't feel what you're feeling right now. So it's not that I'm never going to feel it, but I'm not ready to do this right now. So the fact that they're trying to push him, why won't you marry her? Why won't you marry her? I'm like, that's why Shanique thinks that's stupid shit. That you have been together 2.5 years. I want the ring. I want to walk out of here this and gave him the ultimatum. I think some of that's driven from her parents. And that's just, to me, bad advice.
And they put him in a bad spot because what is Randall supposed to say when you say, why would you marry my daughter? Well, she farts in her sleep. What is he going to say to them? Because even her dad goes, my girl is, I'm a dad, so I'm going to feel that my daughter's perfect. Yes, you are. I'm her boyfriend. I know she's not.
Well, I wanted to go to that little dinner they had because all that seafood in that bowl, I was like, that looks amazing. I really want to try that. I wish I need to start dating Jamaican women. So if you're, deal with the devil, if you're Jamaican in the Austin, Texas area, and you can make that type of seafood bowl, hit me up.
Oh my God. So as we wrap up this recap of the ultimatum, takeaways from the show. Are there any?
No, because it's reality TV. They get people who have all kinds of issues that are going to be drama. I think the biggest takeaway is therapy is a good thing, and many people need it. And if you're not ready to get married, don't do it. There's a reason. And don't issue anyone an ultimatum. If you feel you have to do that, you should break up.
Best takeaway, never settle just because you're comfortable. Plain and simple. Best advice I can give to anybody.
Yep. Exactly.
Hey, I'm Yonni Rude.
I'm Just Terryl.
Make sure you follow us at Yonni Rude, at Just Terryl, and at RGRT Pod.
Yes, send us some of your random thoughts or some of the bullshit you find on the internet. We'll talk about it on the show.
And some of them other bullshit reality TV shows you see. Yeah, we'll talk about that too. It's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast. Cheers.
Cheers.